What is it that gives rise to your thoughts, feelings, and experiences? These questions lead us to one of the most fascinating and perplexing topics in science and philosophy: consciousness. In this video, we'll dive deep into the nature of consciousness, exploring the mysteries of the mind that have puzzled thinkers for centuries. We'll look at what consciousness is, why it's so hard to study, and what modern science is telling us about this fundamental aspect of human experience. Let's start by trying to define consciousness. At its core, consciousness is our subjective experience of the world and ourselves. It's the feeling of being aware, the inner voice of our thoughts, and the vivid sensations we experience. But pinning down exactly what consciousness is and how it works has proven to be an incredibly challenging task. One reason consciousness is so difficult to study is that it's inherently subjective. We can only directly experience our own consciousness, making it hard to observe and measure in others. This subjectivity creates unique challenges for scientists trying to study consciousness using objective methods. This brings us to what philosophers call the hard problem of consciousness. The hard problem asks, why do we have subjective experiences at all? How does the physical activity in our brains give rise to the rich inner world of our thoughts and feelings? Despite centuries of thought and decades of scientific research, we still don't have a satisfactory answer to this question. Many theories have been proposed to explain consciousness. One prominent idea is the global workspace theory. This theory suggests that consciousness arises when information is broadcast widely across different parts of the brain, creating a sort of mental workspace where we can manipulate and process information consciously. Another influential theory is integrated information theory. This approach proposes that consciousness is a fundamental property of any system that integrates information in certain complex ways. According to this theory, consciousness isn't limited to brains, but could potentially exist in other complex systems. A third major theory is higher-order thought theory. This view argues that consciousness occurs when we have thoughts about our own mental states. In other words, we become conscious of something when we think about thinking about it. While these theories offer interesting perspectives, none of them have fully solved the mystery of consciousness. Scientists continue to debate and refine these ideas as new evidence comes to light. To better understand consciousness, researchers have studied how it relates to brain activity. Certain areas of the brain seem particularly important for conscious awareness. The thalamus, for example, acts as a kind of relay station for sensory information and plays a crucial role in regulating consciousness. The prefrontal cortex, involved in higher-level thinking and decision-making, is also closely linked to our conscious experiences. Modern brain imaging techniques have allowed scientists to observe how brain activity changes during different states of consciousness. When we're awake and alert, our brains show complex patterns of activity across many regions. As we fall asleep or go under anesthesia, these patterns change in predictable ways. By studying these changes, researchers hope to uncover the neural basis of consciousness. Our everyday conscious experience is just one type of awareness. Humans can experience various altered states of consciousness that offer intriguing insights into how our minds work. Sleep is perhaps the most common altered state we experience. As we drift off to sleep, our consciousness changes dramatically. We may experience vivid dreams, which are a form of consciousness quite different from our waking awareness. Studying sleep and dreams has provided valuable clues about the nature of consciousness and how it's generated by the brain. Meditation is another way to alter our conscious state. Long-term meditators report being able to achieve states of awareness quite different from ordinary waking consciousness. These experiences have led some researchers to investigate how meditation affects the brain and what it might tell us about the nature of awareness. Psychedelic substances offer yet another window into altered states of consciousness. These powerful drugs can profoundly change how we perceive the world and ourselves. While the use of psychedelics is controversial, carefully controlled studies of these substances have provided interesting insights into the workings of consciousness. The question of consciousness becomes even more complex when we consider it in non-human animals. Do other animals have subjective experiences like we do? If so, what are they like? These questions are challenging to answer because we can't directly ask animals about their inner experiences. Despite this difficulty, there's growing evidence that many animals are indeed conscious. Mammals like dolphins, elephants, and primates show signs of self-awareness and complex emotions. Even creatures with very different nervous systems from our own, like octopuses, display behaviors that suggest some form of consciousness. The challenge lies in measuring and comparing consciousness across different species. How can we tell if a dog's conscious experience is similar to or very different from our own? Scientists are developing new tests and criteria to assess animal consciousness, but many questions remain unanswered. As we develop more advanced artificial intelligence, questions about machine consciousness become increasingly relevant. Could a computer ever be truly conscious? If so, how would we know? Some argue that consciousness is an emergent property of complex information processing and that sufficiently advanced AI could therefore be conscious. Others contend that there's something unique about biological brains that's necessary for consciousness, which machines could never replicate. This isn't just a theoretical debate. As AI systems become more sophisticated, we'll need to grapple with ethical questions about how to treat potentially conscious machines. Should an AI system that shows signs of consciousness have rights? How would we determine if an AI is truly conscious or just very good at mimicking conscious behavior? These questions lead us to consider the nature of the self and its relationship to consciousness. Our sense of being a continuous, unified self is a key aspect of human consciousness. But where does this sense of self come from? Memory plays a crucial role in forming our sense of identity. Our ability to remember past experiences and anticipate future ones creates a sense of continuity over time. However, research into conditions like amnesia and multiple personality disorder has shown that our sense of self can be more fragile than we might think. Some scientists and philosophers have even questioned whether the unified self is an illusion created by our brains. They argue that our sense of being a single coherent I might be a useful fiction that helps us navigate the world, rather than an accurate reflection of how our minds truly work. In recent years, some researchers have proposed connections between consciousness and quantum mechanics, the branch of physics that describes the behavior of matter and energy at the smallest scales. These ideas are highly speculative and controversial within the scientific community. Proponents of quantum consciousness theories argue that quantum effects in the brain might explain some of the mysterious properties of consciousness, such as its apparent non-locality or the difficulty of reducing it to purely physical processes. Critics argue that the brain is too warm and wet for quantum effects to play a significant role, and that these theories don't actually solve the hard problem of consciousness. While the debate continues, most mainstream neuroscientists remain skeptical of quantum consciousness theories. However, The fact that such ideas are being seriously discussed shows how challenging the problem of consciousness is and how far we still have to go in understanding it. As we look to the future, new technologies are opening up exciting possibilities for consciousness research. Advanced brain imaging techniques are allowing us to observe neural activity in unprecedented detail. Brain-computer interfaces are creating new ways for us to interact with technology using our thoughts. And progress in AI is forcing us to reconsider what consciousness really means. These developments could lead to major breakthroughs in our understanding of consciousness. We might finally crack the code of how the brain generates our subjective experiences, or develop new ways to measure and compare consciousness across different species or even artificial systems. At the same time, we're likely to face new ethical challenges as our ability to manipulate and interface with consciousness grows. How will we handle technologies that can read or even alter our thoughts? What rights should we grant to artificially conscious entities if we create them? Understanding consciousness isn't just an academic exercise. It has profound implications for many aspects of our lives. In medicine, a better grasp of consciousness could lead to improved treatments for disorders of consciousness, such as coma or persistent vegetative states. It could also help us develop more effective therapies for mental health conditions that affect our conscious experiences. Philosophically, understanding consciousness touches on some of the deepest questions about human nature and our place in the universe. Are we merely complex biological machines, or is there something more to our conscious experiences? How does our consciousness relate to the physical world around us? Ethically, our views on consciousness influence how we treat other beings. If we recognize consciousness in animals, how should that change our relationship with them? If we create conscious AI, what responsibilities do we have towards these artificial minds? It's clear that we've only scratched the surface of this fascinating topic. We've seen how consciousness touches on fundamental questions in neuroscience, philosophy, physics, and ethics. We've explored theories about how consciousness might work, looked at altered states of awareness, and considered consciousness in animals and machines. Yet despite all we've learned, the nature of consciousness remains one of the greatest mysteries in science and philosophy. We still don't have a full explanation for how the physical processes in our brains give rise to our subjective experiences. The hard problem of consciousness continues to challenge our understanding. But this mystery is what makes consciousness such an exciting field of study. Every new discovery opens up new questions and possibilities. As we continue to investigate consciousness, we're not just learning about our brains, we're learning about the very nature of what it means to be aware, to think, to feel, to be. So the next time you pause to notice your own thoughts or feelings, remember that you're experiencing one of the most profound and puzzling phenomena in the universe. Your consciousness, your awareness, your subjective experience of being you is a frontier of science as vast and mysterious as the depths of space or the nature of time. The study of consciousness invites us all to become explorers of the mind. By paying attention to our own awareness, by questioning the nature of our experiences, we can contribute to this great endeavor. Who knows? The next big insight into the nature of consciousness might come from you. As we continue to unravel the mysteries of consciousness, we're sure to encounter new wonders and challenges. But one thing is certain: the journey of understanding consciousness is also a journey of understanding ourselves, and that makes it one of the most worthwhile pursuits we can engage in. Thank you for joining me on this exploration of the nature of consciousness. I hope this video has sparked your curiosity and inspired you to think more deeply about your own conscious experiences. Remember, every moment of awareness is an opportunity to marvel at the incredible phenomenon that is consciousness. Keep questioning, keep wondering, and keep exploring the fascinating world of your own mind. The mysteries of consciousness are waiting for you to discover them.